Hello everyone and good evening and welcome to day 2 of Vlogmas. I have an exciting video today for you guys and it is my Dream 18 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Alright, so in today's video we're going to be looking at my Dream 18 on the Pro Tour, and this list comes with 2 restrictions. Number 1 is I've had to play that event, which means unfortunately the Idlewild Open will not be included in this list, even though I'm sure at least 1 or 2 of those holes would make my Dream 18. But unfortunately not yet. Hopefully next year I can actually play that event. It looks so fun. And restriction number 2 is that the number of the hole actually has to be the number of the hole. So hole 1 of my Dream 18 has to be a hole 1 of an actual course on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Without any further ado, let's jump right into this, and here we go. Alright, bringing us straight to hole 1 of my Dream 18 on the Pro Tour, guys. This could be a controversial one, but I chose to make Fountain Hills hole 1 my dream hole 1 because it's just such a unique freaking hole 1, and it's so early in the season. It's so nerve-wracking but so special to step up to this hole on the first Pro Tour of the year, and your name is announced and you're faced with 350 feet of straight water. There is a wide layup zone, but you kind of want to attack. There's just something about this hole that you really want to attack it. So this was not really an attacking shot, but I give myself like a 50-footer here, which is not ideal with the basket 6 feet from the water. But that was my hole 1. Hole 2, we are in North Carolina, in Charlotte. This is the Pro Tour Finals, the Pro Tour Championships. Hole 2, which is I think one of the most picturesque holes in disc golf. The Pro Tour, especially the finals, are getting more and more important. You really want to be up there, not just because of the prize money, but it was on ESPN this year. That whole title is just getting like a really big deal, and I love it. This hole is so cool, so fun, it looks so good, and this right here was a great example on how not to do it. You gotta step up and commit to this one. That's why I love it. Bringing us to hole 3. Deglow. Man, what a course. Toboggan. We are here on a slope, on a big slope, and that's why I love this hole. This tee shot is it's just so appealing to the eye, and it's obviously everyone that's ever thrown down a mountain knows how fun it is. And you basically just crush one down the mountain here. This hole is actually over 900 feet, but plays more like 700 feet. So I think if you fully unleash one with like completely disregarding of where you want to land, you can probably get into jump putting range here. But you want to just keep it low, fire it down there, and then you have a pretty simple upshot to the basket if you don't go OB or into the woods on the right. But it's just awesome. Next we are in Vermont, Fox Run Meadows, one of my favorite courses in the world, even though I play so poorly every time I play it. But this par 4 is just designed so well, and again, for me, it's not just the way it plays, it's more like the way it looks and the way it feels. And man, this hole just looks and feels right. I can tell you that much. It's such a good par 4 where there is technically a risk and reward. You see that straight fairway, you can go for that, which makes pretty much no sense, but at least they gave you the option. But there's a big layout zone to the right, which is a very tricky shot. That's a shot that is not required much in disc golf, so it's very weird to line that shot up, that tee shot. Bringing you to the second shot, to one of the nicest greens we have in disc golf. Beautiful stone circle and surrounded by mountains. I mean, I don't even have to mention the views. This course is just a destination course and highly recommended, and I walked away with a birdie in this case. Bringing us to hole 5. San Francisco Open. This is Glen Eagles, and again, a downhill crusher hole. I think we're finding some kind of pattern here. I like picturesque and downhill. So this is another par 4, over 1,000 feet, and I chose this hole obviously because it looks cool. It's in San Francisco on this crusher course, and I think you can say this is the signature hole of this course, and I remember this drive specifically. You can see this disc just lifting and lifting, And we were throwing into a slight headwind here, and I think this possibly was the longest drive ever on this hole, or at least longest drive of the day. You can see my slight smirk there. And Jerry Gomez caddying for me. That was fun times. The upshot is always pretty windy at this course, so the upshot is still pretty tricky. I was left with about 300 feet, but in that case, made it look pretty simple, which was nice. That hole is not a birdie guarantee at all. Hole 6, this was a tricky one, but we are in Jonesboro at the Jonesboro Open at the Disc Side of Heaven. Fun course, a course that I miss a lot that I unfortunately didn't get to play this year. But hole 6 is also, again, probably the signature hole of this course. Again, over water. It's an island shot, which just adds, again, to how it looks and especially how it plays the mental side of it. Most people will choose a sidearm here. It's just pretty easily controlled. It's not the hardest hole on the course, obviously, but I just love the way it plays and the way it looks. Bringing us to hole 7, which many people might think, why would I add this one? Because it doesn't really seem that special, but it is the shortest hole in my Dream 18 at only 210 feet. This is, again, Fountain Hills, Arizona. I just have something for this course because one thing is I always play great, and another thing, I just think it looks so cool, and it is just such a different disc golf than we usually get to play. And this hole is just another mental battle where you have to place a putter and land it super soft, and then you're faced with a death putt. No one can stay cool, even if it's only a 15-footer. So this is a special hole for me. Oh, hole 8. There was no other hole on tour that could take this hole 8, obviously, than Maple Hill. One of the signature holes of Maple Hill, of the many signature holes. But stepping up to this hole every year at the MVP Open is just a feeling that you don't really get at any other hole. With the gallery behind the basket, famously known as the A-holes, you just have 350 feet of straight water with a tiny landing zone and a basket that is like a foot shorter than it should be. But actually they raised that this year, so that's not the case anymore. But awesome hole. Bringing us back to Phoenix, Arizona. Hole 9 at Vista del Camino. This hole, again, might not stand out to people as special, but for me, this has always been one of the coolest par 3s we have on the entire tour, just because of the risk and reward factor. But I never really birdied this hole. I think I birdied it once or twice, maybe in like 6 or 7 years of playing this tournament. But it's just so cool. Big throwers can go over the top and just try to spike hyzer one into the basket. You can go super wide and just land one in the fairway and lay up for par. Right there, I tried going for it, caught up by a tree. Some people throw sidearms at it all the way to the basket. And it's just a great scoring separator where if you get a birdie on this hole, it feels like an eagle almost, and you get a stroke on the field. So that's awesome. Bringing us to hole 10. We are in Waco at the Waco Charity Open, the Beast, Brazos East Park. And this is just one of the coolest par 4s, one of my favorite par 4s on tour. It's just every time I walk down the fairway of this hole, I just look around and I'm like, man, this is it. This is like one of the prettiest, coolest par 4s we have. There's something about being in the woods and walking through like a grass fairway that's just so appealing to me and just makes it feel like disc golf. This is disc golf, and I wish we had more courses like this, more holes that looked like this. And every time I play in Waco, I always look forward to this hole. And if you play it well, it's a pretty straightforward. You want to get like 400, maybe 450 feet down the fairway, kind of keep it in the fairway, and then it's a putter up shot from there, and hit a putt to get a birdie like I just did. Back at Maple Hill, folks. We're back in Massachusetts at the Christmas Tree Farm, and this is just one of, I don't know why I keep repeating myself, the coolest par 4s. Stepping up as a long thrower here, it's like hole 11 and hole 12 at Maple Hill, the par 4s. You're looking at, man, I really want to get a birdie on this hole. So there's two options. You want to lay up a bit shorter, leave yourself a little of a longer shot, but you don't have the trees in the distance to contend with. Or like I just chose to, just completely blast one down there. Again, it's so tempting to blast one, and then you end up maybe in these bigger pine trees, which is going to be really obstructed for your second shot. I only have a putter in my hands here to get to the basket, but you could see weird footwork, awkward lie, makes everything much more difficult. And this shot into this green, the green is awesome, surrounded by trees and bushes, nice light coming from the sun on top. Unfortunately, I don't know why I chose this clip, but this is when I tried to save my birdie because I felt like, man, I really need a birdie this, and ending up with a bogey. From birdie to bogey, that's how you do it sometimes, and you can see I'm not very pleased with that, but love this hole nonetheless. Bringing us back to Vermont, Fox Run Meadows, 720 feet, hole 12. Again, just like hole 4 on this course, I just love the way this course is designed. Another layup shot with a big second shot, OB all the way on the right side, a bit further down left. Those little woods on the left of the basket is so cool. If you go in there, you have like all these tiny little trees to work with. And actually this year, I went for the second fairway on my first shot, and I made it. And I don't know if this is a fact. I don't know if I'm the only one to even go for it, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one to actually make it. Don't have video of that, unfortunately, because I was too far back. But anyway, here's the layup shot. The second shot here is just so tricky. It's just a mind game. You don't want to turn one over to the OB on the right, and you don't want to go long because there's OB again. And it's just this awkward 380 where this is a mid-range, is it a fairway driver? Anyway, next hole, hole 13. This was a pretty easy one for me to choose. Lake Eureka. We are in Peoria, Illinois at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, and probably my second favorite par 5 in the world. Just what a hole. All the way over water. 3 shots, you have to hyzer it over the water if you're a right-handed thrower, of course. But just the way it looks again and the way it plays, just so awesome. I'm throwing a PD2 here, spiking it into the land on the other side. You have to walk all the way around. It's like a 2 or 3 minute walk. Get to your lie and then blast another hyzer again all the way over water. Pretty similar shot actually to the tee shot. You know, I love throwing hyzers. Maybe that's why this hole appeals to me so much. And then the third shot is a shorter one. This might be an MD5, I think. It could be an FD3, but probably another 200, 250 feet to the basket, and that is a textbook birdie on this hole. And this is the only time I went back-to-back same courses, which is still at Lake Eureka, same course. The next hole, hole 14. Man, this is a par 4. I love this par 4 so much. That whole back stretch, the 6 last holes at Lake Eureka are just maybe my favorite 6-hole stretch in the world. So definitely a cool place to play disc golf. There's so many options on this hole. I think that's why I love it. You can go like me, like a straight mid-range layup and then try to throw a bigger hyzer from there. You can go fairway driver or even distance driver from the tee. You can go over the top on the tee. You can bite as much as you want. It's a risk and reward kind of tee shot. If you have the arm, I think the layup is the best shot because then the second shot is less risk. But I left that so short. It is actually it's 805 feet. It is a long hole. So great par 4. A birdie definitely feels like a real accomplishment here. Bringing us to 15. We are in the woods. We are at Brewster Ridge in Vermont, part of the Green Mountain Championships. And hole 15, man, the reason I love this hole so much is because it's such a mind game. It's such a twist to the rest of the course because OB is not really a big factor on this course, but then you step up to hole 15. After on the 14 holes prior, you're just trying to collect birdies, as many as you can. You want to be like 6, 7, 8 under at this point. And then this hole really feels like, kind of like the hole you're just waiting to get to make your round and not break your round because, man, such a good hole. It's such a fun par 3. The whole wood line here is the OB. Not wood, sorry, stone wall is the OB, and it's just a nice, fun mental trick. Bringing us to another mental hole, hole 16 at the DD Open, or GBO, Glassblown Open, of course. Hole 16, the famous island hole. What are you going to say? Definitely one of the most signature holes in disc golf. One of the hardest shots to pull off, especially in the freaking Kansas Emporia winds. I'm actually throwing a PD2 here on a 330-foot shot. Always windy. I think Paul Macbeth is the only one that has a good percentage on this hole. But yeah, if you don't make the island, you have to lay it up. And the final stretch at the DD Open, or GBO, whatever it's called nowadays, is one of the toughest ones, and a lot of switches can happen. Bringing us to hole 17. Waco, we are back at the Beast. And wow, I think this is my favorite hole 17 in the world. It doesn't look as good as it plays. It still looks great, but I think just the way it plays is so unique, and we don't have many holes like this that are these funky 90-degree holes, but actually make sense and are fun and cool to play. If you see me throw a sidearm off a tee, you know it's a tricky shot, and there's not that many options. You can throw a fairway, understable fairway driver. I've seen people throw rollers here too, but it's so key to get all the way to the corner. I ended up a bit short. I was still happy with my shot, but then the second shot is just so sick. You gotta push one way over the water. Also, you know it's Texas, it's gonna be windy. And then spike one in, OB right, water left, wind, coming down the stretch. Awesome hole. Always looking forward to playing this hole. Man, love that hole 17. Bringing us to the final hole, hole 18. We are back at Fox Run Meadows. And again, Maple Hill was on my list of hole 18s. Obviously, that's a special one. Should get a special mention. But I chose being back in Vermont. This hole just, again, it's a downhill shot, surrounded by OB, coming down the stretch. This was the World Championship final hole 2 years ago. Wow, it just looks so cool. The whole parking lot on the left, the tent, the pro shop, people watching all along the lines. It's just an awesome hole. I don't think you can argue that. And again, a big risk and reward. I've played this hole so many different ways. You can see that was actually a crush, and I got a freaking fist pump from Paul Macbeth. That was definitely a cool moment. I actually got into jump putt range here. But that was a great example on how not to do it. Leaving myself a tester for birdie. And let's see if I was able to make this. I was able to make it. Nice. Let's go. That was my Dream 18, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And I have one honorable mention, actually, because this course was not at all in the video, I noticed. But hole 10, at the Preserve in Minnesota has to be just one of the most picturesque, fun, awesome par 3s in all of disc golf. And I really, really loved that hole and that course. That was my Dream 18 and my video to the day. I have two things to mention here. Number one, that the only course I didn't mention was the Portland Open, Blue Lake, which is such a great course, and I really enjoy every single hole there. And I can't explain why I didn't make a single hole of the Dream 18. It's a great course, it's a great tournament, but for some reason it just wasn't part of the Dream 18. Kind of like the Preserve, that at least got the honorable mention. But I love the Preserve course, so fun to play. A lot of holes are just awesome, but every single one I was looking at, some other course had just a hole that I thought, man, I can't miss out on that hole on my Dream 18. Other than that, my Dream 18 course is a par 65, one par 5, and then a handful of par 4s, a handful of par 3s. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember to like and subscribe, and see ya. Peace.